Skeeledon here, and I'm just gonna give you my opinion on the 3.2 patch notes. Don't really care about skins, but they seem pretty nice. Okay, so first item change, Emperor's Armor. This is an item that's mostly used by supports from what I see, and even then it's like a niche item, so honestly, the buff of making it 100 gold cheaper, I would say is good. I think Emperor's Armor is actually like a healthy item for the game, so I'm fine with it being better when it's only picked up sometimes. Okay, Heartseeker. The 3-second physical power buff from passive now applies 15% attack speed to buff as well. Okay, so how Heartseeker works is every time you land a basic attack, you gain a small percent of attack speed. And at max stacks, you have, I think, 15%. When you use an ability, it would consume those stacks, thus making your attack speed revert back to what it was before any of the stacks and giving you like a 30 power buff or something. This pretty much just changed it so it doesn't just instantly remove the attack speed buff. You actually maintain it until you lose that physical power buff. Overall, this change I isn't too strong by itself, but with other items, it might actually matter. Stone cutting reduces reduced cost by 300. Stone cutting is just, in my opinion, a very strong item now, and I mean really strong. Like with 3 basics, that's 30 pen. You get movement speed, you get power, you also get 30 armor with those 3 basic. It gives a lot. This might see a lot of play. I wouldn't be surprised. Void Stone. I was very surprised when I saw this change, and that's just because of the recent issues with Void Shield. And I'm just like, did they not realize having an item such as this being like isn't really that great for people? So they reduced the cost by 150 gold, made it super cheap, and then increased the prot to 60. I could honestly see Voidstone being like mandatory almost, because you can't be killed by magical if you pick this up like top 3. And on top of that, with Guardians, like I think it was Eager ran Guardian solo over the weekend. If Guardians like become meta in solo, Voidstone even gets better because they're dealing less damage to you. I think there was like a game where Divios like one-shot Xeno when he was playing Sobek. So that just gives you an idea like how good this could be if that becomes meta. Okay, so not too many item changes, but overall the only big ones I would say would be stone cutting and void stone. I think void stone probably might be bigger, but I might be overreacting because of just how good void shield was, and it's a very similar concept to it. Okay, Apwash buff it looks like. Increases base health by 25. Okay. Increases health per level. Increases base movement speed. Okay. So these are actually fun, I think. Just because Apwash honestly felt really squishy for the way you wanted to play him. And I think the movement speed buff's fine considering he has no mobility in his kit already. Undead Surge. That's fine. It way too much mana I thought in the first place. This is fine. Honestly, I would say most of this is just a quality of life change. Yes, it is a buff, but he felt a bit awkward when playing, in my opinion, and this is going to make it feel a lot better. Okay, AMC Hives. Reveals all enemy gods within 20 units to all allies and shows hive area at all times. Shows the area of a hive being placed in targeting mode. Increases radius from 80 to 90. Reduce mana cost to 40 at all ranks. Honey. Increased bees flying to honey from hives. Range from 55 to 90. Wow. Okay. So I don't think this will make AMC viable. But this is actually a huge buff. And I mean huge, because you technically get free wards. And obviously you're not going to have all your hives as wards. You're going to have like 1 or 2 in land, and you're going to have the others like sitting as a ward. So that could be really nice. I don't think it will fix his issue unless he just can't be camped with this, which I don't see happening, because there's still Thor, Rat. Like there's globals, semi-globals, or globals in the game that will still just reach out of the distance of the wards, or make it so he can't react in time. Nice buff is gonna make him pretty good in a non-competitive sense, but in competitive, I don't think he will see play at all still, or very little. Bacchus, healing reduction debuff increased from 25% to 50%. I'm actually wondering if this is in response to them seeing a more sustained type of like land meta, because EU Group A picked up Raw, and so did people in Group B. I'm surprised Bacchus got the buff, but I wonder if that's why the healing reduction buff was put on. Okay, Kim. Don't really care about him, but cooldown reduced from 15 to 13. Sure. Separated slow and targeting over damage, two separate effects. I think that was due to a bug where if you became slow immune, you didn't take dot damage. And then Bat Out of Hell, his ult increased duration to 3 to 4. That's really good because his ult felt super like I had to rush it. And it can pass. Okay, that's good because I was actually playing and I got walled off by like a Thor or something. And I'm like, why can't I go over this wall? So that's actually nice. Okay, so Kali is often considered one of the strongest late game hypercarries in Smite because of her terrifying late game potential. We do not want to give her any direct buffs, however, we didn't introduce a lot of randomness that Kali players deal with her. Passives, rules change, never use RNG to allow Kali to select her targets, substitution through into a mechanical. Mark of Death, that's her passive. This ability now has a new menu to allow Kali players to select their first target. The selection must be made before taking any other action at the start of the match. Whenever Kali dies, she may change targets through the same menu. Upon killing a target, Mark Death will now select the closest god to Kali, becoming her next target. I think this is actually really big because this is just flat out a buff, like a big buff. And the reason is like if I got my mark on say the mid or jungle compared to the soul lane or support, that was huge. Because if they had any form of like a really hard to kill solo lane, I might not get my mark off him for like 15 minutes. There's an honest chance that might happen. And if that happens, I effectively don't have a passive. If I can say 100% of the time guarantee it being on the enemy mid or jungle, that makes our 2v2 fight so much better. And that's not a joke when I say that. That damage, the pen you get is amazing. And if we just look to burst and dive someone and I get focused, like in the level 3 or 4 fight, if we kill them, I'm not going to die if we get the target. Because we're obviously going to be aiming at the target I've marked. This change is actually really big the more I keep thinking about it. I don't think it's... I think it's good, but I think Kali might need toned down. Because that's... I don't know. This is something I need to play with, but just I'm thinking worst case scenario. I'm thinking Kali is going to be pretty strong off this because that really helps her fight, like in where she wants to fight, a lot. Last breath. This ability will no longer go. Okay, thank God. This made my patch. Yes. Pretty much, for people that don't know, there's a bug on Circuit. If you ult and they, like, say jump away or something, if I'm mid-flight onto connecting with them with my ult, then my ult is consumed, but they don't get my ult applied on them. That is the worst feeling in the world. Thank God they changed that because that was just awful to play with. Abilities now cost percent current health, not total health. More consistent to 1 second all ranks. That's not a big deal. That's minor, probably just more or less just a quality of life change where you can use your abilities at super, super low health. But yeah, overall the patch, I would say the most high impact changes are going to be stone cutting got way cheaper. Void stone got way better just because of the 10% or not 10%, 10 prot early game. If you pick this up early is huge, and making it cheaper makes it just it's better. I don't really know a way to put it. This is really important, this void stone change. A push, quality of life, AMC doesn't really matter. Bacchus, this is pretty nice, but I don't see it matter too much unless a sustained meta comes out. And even then, 50%, 50% a lot. Yeah, this change will matter if sustained meta comes out. Doesn't matter. Collie. This one is the most one I'm unsure about. I think it's gonna matter a lot, but I need to play with it because I don't consistently have the target I want be my mark target. So what I need to do is once I play with it, and I'm like, okay, this person's always my mark target. I will actually get to see like, oh, this mattered a lot. I'm like, maybe it won't matter much. This is definitely a change you need to play with, but I'm thinking it's gonna matter a lot. This is the greatest thing to ever touch Smite. This bug needed to be gone. This was actually one of my most hated bugs this entire game. The only one that's comparable is probably like the Fenrir jump bug. And maybe Thor, stuck in Thor as well. Those are probably like my only other ones I hate as much as this. And then the Thanatos, just a quality of life change. Patch I would say is good, maybe. I'm not actually. I'm indifferent about it. I like a few things, mostly the circuit fix, but I dislike them changing Kali really. This just scares me. Along with the stone cutting buff, I don't think people will pick up Heartseeker on Kali, so I don't think this really does anything for her. Other assassins, I don't really see other assassins picking up Heartseeker. It's just a weird item. Stone cutting, I do think we'll see more play. Yeah, I would say I'm indifferent about this patch. Kali is just my only worry. Everything else I think is a good change though. Well, that's it.